And welcome to Hannity. So the Republican plan to repeal and replace Obamacare has been released. In just a few minutes, we'll get reaction from the Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, Laura Ingraham, Monica Crowley, and so much more. But first, it's time to break down the GOP's American Health Care Act and determine whether it really is going to work for you, the American people. Tonight, it's time to hold Washington accountable, and that is tonight's opening monologue. Let's go back to 2009. Then President Obama told a room full of lawmakers that, quote, elections have consequences. Well, 8 years later, with the Republicans now in control of the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, well, Obama's crowning achievement is officially on the chopping block. But now some on the right, many conservatives, are slamming the bill, including Americans for Prosperity, the Club for Growth, the Heritage Action Committee, and many others, including author Daniel Horowitz. He released an article entitled Rhino Care, a more insolvent version of Obamacare, except this time the GOP owns it. Some congressional Republicans are also raising very serious issues. Let's take a look.
What's been introduced in the House in the last 24 hours is not the Obamacare replacement plan, not the Obamacare repeal plan we've been hoping for. This is instead a step in the wrong direction.
There better not be a rule that prevents amendments that are badly needed to fix this flawed bill.
Obviously, we have some serious concerns. We haven't been shy about the serious concerns as we look at that. And yet, with any negotiation, you look at the trade-offs. What are the risks versus the rewards?
The House bill that's been put forward is Obamacare Light. It won't work. Premiums and prices will continue to spiral out of control.
All right, so is the American Health Care Act Obamacare Light? All right, before we get to that, let's take a step back. Let's look at some positive aspects that are in this plan. After 7 years of promising to repeal Obamacare, Republicans are attempting to do just that. That's a good thing. By eliminating the individual and employer mandates, that's a good thing. Also, this bill strips federal funding for abortion providers like Planned Parenthood. That's a promise the president made on the campaign trail. It also eliminates the medical device tax as well as other oppressive taxes enacted under Obamacare. But, and a big but tonight, while the American Health Care Act is a step in the right direction, it is far from perfect. It must be fixed. Now, Obamacare must be, under all circumstances, completely repealed. We have rising premium costs. They must be addressed further. And certain types of insurance-free cooperatives need to be utilized as well as healthcare savings accounts, which we will explore in just a minute. But before the GOP, I'm warning everybody on both sides of this debate, until they erupt into massive infighting, it's very important to note these words from the Health and Human Services Secretary, who will join us later, Tom Price.
This is a work in progress, and we'll work with the House and the Senate in this process. As you know, it's a legislative process that occurs. You start at a starting point. People engage, and they get involved in the process, sometimes to a greater degree. Nothing focuses the mind like a bill that's currently on the table and that has a work in progress or in process, and we'll work through it.
It's very important the Freedom Caucus and the study group in the House and people like Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Mike Lee be listened to, and that their contributions added to this bill. So Secretary Price is right, and tonight I want to put an end to the civil war that seems to be brewing inside the Republican Party. Now, the current version of the American Health Care Act, as Tom Price said, is a first draft. First drafts are never perfect, always filled with errors, miscalculations. Now it's up to the Republican members of Congress to come together and fix this bill and get it right for you, the American people, all while putting together a unified strategy to combat efforts from Democrats to paint the bill as a disaster for low-income Americans. In other words, Republicans want to kill children and kill old people. Now, these cannot take place, these discussions, on TV or in the press. My suggestion tonight is Republicans, and that includes the Freedom Caucus, that includes the senators I mentioned, and that includes others, should get together in a room, work through these issues in person. The House Freedom Caucus, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Marco Rubio, other conservatives who have been loudly voicing their concerns for 8 years, and sadly, many of these ideas were not represented in this bill. Now, once Obamacare is repealed and replaced, Republicans, you are going to own what's in this. And those who voted to put you in control of Congress will not settle for Obamacare Light, myself included. So Congress, remember, your jobs are on the line here, but more importantly, so are the lives and the well-being of millions of Americans. You got to get this right, and you got to join forces. Frankly, it would have been better if a consensus bill was built before it was released. But with that being said, You still have time to fix it, and I hope you do. Joining me now is a doctor who all members of Congress, I believe, should get to know. He founded what's called Atlas MD, a healthcare cooperative. It's in Wichita, Kansas, that is insurance-free. Dr. Josh Umber is with us, as well as family physician, Dr. Ryan Newfall. Guys, welcome to the program. Dr. Umber, how long have I been talking to you on radio in particular? How many years has it been? It's been a while, right?
Oh, 5, 6 years now. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back. How many people do you serve in your health cooperative? How much does it cost? What are people provided? And tell us about the incredible deals you made with pharmaceutical companies. And tell us how it's been duplicated. So I'm really opening it up for you to explain what you do.
Absolutely. And thanks for being the leader in having this conversation about real solutions that could be enacted to help Americans. The idea is direct primary care, which is the new model going forward, where we don't take insurance because we don't need insurance for the common things. Our care is $10 a month for kids, $50 a month for most adults for unlimited visits, no co-pays, free office procedures, and up to 95% savings on medications, labs, imaging, etc. by going wholesale. We're able to take that full value, go back to an employer, decrease their insurance premiums by 30 to 60% in the first year. These are things that could dramatically change the scope of medicine in this country.
Let me go over some of what I know about it. So children on the plan pay $10 a month?
That's correct.
Well, their parents pay, I'm sure. Adults pay $50 a person,
We make
right?
some of them pay themselves.
Yeah. Wow.
Adults, yes,
And adults pay $50 a person. Now, that includes, correct me if I'm wrong, unlimited health care, right? Unlimited in as much as
yes,
unlimited doctor
unlimited
visits.
care.
They can go see you. They can get a Z. Let's go to the simple things. If they need stitches, they can go to the office and get stitches, correct?
For free.
And if they need antibiotics, they can get antibiotics.
For pennies on the pill.
And if they break a bone, what happens?
Well, then we could get x-rays for $20 to $40 typically, and that includes radiology reads, so something that could easily be over $100 anywhere else, or over $5,000 or $500 to $1,000 at the ER.
All for $50 a month. This is $50 a month. All that, and you pay a little bit extra for your MRI reading, but you're paying considerably less. And the average person might have a catastrophic insurance plan on top of it if, God forbid, they have a heart attack or get cancer or have a bad accident, right?
Absolutely. And now those plans would be drastically cheaper per month, so they're more affordable, so more people would have health insurance. And actually, the insurance companies that have worked with us the longest, like Allied National out of Kansas City, actually show better profit margins in this plan. So we've worked hard that the insurance companies see a benefit, the employers see a benefit, but most importantly, the patients see a benefit.
Guys, thank you both. Congratulations on what you've been able to accomplish. Now, stay right there. Coming up next tonight on Hannity.
The American people have said to their elected leaders that the Obamacare process for them gaining coverage and care is not working. That's what they've said. And so we believe it's important to respond to the American people.
The Health and Human Services Secretary, Tom Price, he spoke to reporters today about the Obamacare replacement plan. He says it's only a first step. Well, hopefully some people believe that. He'll join us next in a Hannity exclusive, and then later.
Doing big things is never easy. But we have made a promise, and we're going to keep that promise. We made a promise to repeal and replace Obamacare with conservative solutions and reforms. That is exactly what this bill does, and that's why we're here.
All right, that was Speaker Paul Ryan earlier today talking about the Republican plan to now repeal, replace Obamacare, but not all GOP lawmakers are on board with this new legislation. Joining us now is the Health and Human Services Secretary, former Congressman, somebody I've known for a while, Tom Price. By the way, congratulations, Congressman, on your new position.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you so much. Wonderful to be with you.
I know that, I guess my surprise, and if you look at the criticism from the Freedom Caucus, Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, these are significant conservatives, also conservatives on radio. And I had interviewed you a long time ago about your specific plan. And I guess what is so kind of shocking to me is that all these criticisms were out there by conservatives before the bill was introduced, Why wasn't there a meeting and a consensus built on the bill within the Republican Party before it was released?
Well, it was released by the House, as you know, but we've been working with members of the Senate, members of the House, stakeholders all across the land about this piece of legislation. I think we've gotten to a pretty sweet spot. Now, this is a work in progress and continues to be so. But the core is that Obamacare has failed, as you well know. We got costs that are going up. The access is going down. It's only getting worse. You got insurers pulling out of the market. Premiums are going up, deductibles are skyrocketing, so people aren't getting care or coverage right now in the individual and small group market.
Yeah.
This bill addresses just that by providing the kinds of access to care and affordable coverage that individuals need.
I guess we all agree on a repeal. I guess the replacement is where the disagreement within the Republican Party is. What I don't want to see happen, Secretary Price, I'm used to calling you Congressman, what I don't want to see is an intramural civil war with Republicans over the bill. For example, the big criticism is it's not a full repeal, A, and B, that it's a new entitlement program. And one of the things one of the Freedom Caucus members told me today is they would rather block grant any money for the uninsured or the poor back to the states. Would that be something you'd be open to?
Well, we're talking about tactics and that thing, but let me make clear to people that this single bill is not the entire plan. There are three different phases. One is this bill that has to go through reconciliation because it's a budgetary process. Two is all of the kinds of rules and regulations. You remember all the things that the previous administration did? Hundreds of rules, thousands, literally thousands of guidance letters. We're going to go through every single one of them to determine whether or not they help patients or hurt patients. And if they hurt patients, we're going to do our best to get rid of them. And then the third phase is another piece of legislation that can't be done through reconciliation because of the specific rules. Those are the kinds of things that we're going to do in those phase 2 and 3 to purchase across state lines, to put in lawsuit abuse reform, expand HSAs in a more vibrant way, all the things that we know will actually bring down costs and allow individuals to get the coverage that they want for themselves and for their family.
I guess because a lot of people thought the 123-page bill was the bill, and I guess that's the reason. Mr. Secretary, let me ask this question, because one of the things that some conservatives are asking, and I think it's a fair question, every Republican voted for a repeal bill in and of itself in 2015. Why not do that again so you ensure all of it is gone? Is that possible?
Well, I don't think that the governors of the states would allow that to happen, because what they would see then is that repealing the programs that they've used to try to cover their most vulnerable populations and not then being able to know what the future holds, that's not a viable proposal. And the president, as you well know, has said repeal and replace. We're going to do them concurrently and move forward. And that's why it's important for people to recognize the three different phases: the bill, the rule changes, and the secondary bill.
Is there a new entitlement in this bill? In other words,
Absolutely not. What we're trying to do, Sean, as you well know, is to equalize the tax treatment of health coverage for folks. We've said that for years. Conservatives have said that for years. If you get your coverage through your employer, which is about 175 million people in this country, you get a tax benefit because that's paid with pre-tax dollars. The individuals that are out there in the individual and small group market, they don't have any tax benefit. We're trying to equalize the tax treatment of health coverage for folks, and that's the way that we think makes it much more fair for all individuals across this land.
You know, in the last segment, we had Dr. Josh Umber from Wichita, and it's somebody that I've known for a lot of years. He's a really smart guy. He's from Wichita, Kansas, and he started this cooperative, and it's been duplicated a lot around the country. In his cooperative in Kansas, they have a $10 monthly charge for children, a $50 monthly charge for adults. It includes unlimited health care. He has independently negotiated with the pharmaceutical companies for the major drugs that his patients need and gets 90% reductions. And then most of his patients have catastrophic plans, which are relatively inexpensive based on what your deductible is.
Correct.
In case you have a heart attack, an accident, God forbid, or cancer, God forbid. And that is the best that's what insurance seems to really be for. Can that be duplicated? For example, could the Bricklayers Association of America, carpenters unions across America, is that something that maybe could be duplicated, considering it's so impressive to me, on top of the health care savings accounts, which we all agree we need in this bill?
Absolutely. What a great model to follow. And the flexibility that we have in this legislation and that we will have in the second and third phases, the flexibility that we'll allow ought to be able to make it so that that could be a model for anybody that wants to do that. Right now, that's virtually impossible, and that's not that's a program that may work for government, but it doesn't work for patients, and that's where we need to have our focus.
Last question, Mr. Secretary. How much input, those people that have been vocal and critical today, the Freedom Caucus, those senators that I mentioned, these conservative groups that I mentioned, Heritage Action, Club for Growth, Freedom Works, Americans for Prosperity, how much input will you allow them to have as you move forward in these three phases? Because a lot of them were pretty upset today.
We're looking forward to working with every single person as we have to date and folks who are interested in moving our healthcare system in a direction that puts patients and families and doctors in charge. And we're in the receiving mode for the kinds of reforms that people think need to be put into place through the regulatory process, through the guidance process, through the third piece of legislation, that third phase that will be necessary. This is incredibly important, and it's such an exciting time to be able to respond to the concerns of the American people and the dictates that they have, the requirement that they have to make certain that we address our health care system.
Look, this is a defining moment for the Republicans and certainly for the president. The fact that you're going to have an open door and these people will be heard and those changes are going to be made, as you said, this is a first step, is a little more reassuring than how I felt earlier today. Mr. Secretary, I look forward to continuing this discussion as we move forward, and I wish you the best of luck. It's important we get this done, but get it done right. Thank you, sir.
We got to get it done right. Thanks so much, Sean. Take care.
I appreciate it. All the best. And coming up, are Obama holdovers, that shadow government officials, are they working behind the scenes to continue to damage the Trump administration? We'll examine tonight's evidence. We'll get reaction from Laura Ingraham. And later tonight, she's back. Monica Crowley returns to Hannity with reaction to the unrelenting attacks against everybody in the Trump administration as we continue.